you may finally get a chance to buy an RTX 5000 card. More terrible news for Nvidia's new cards. I'm talking their last gen GPUs are way faster than their 5000 series at this. Confirmation on release date and review date for the 9000 cards, plus we have more specs and performance. Welcome everyone to GamerMeld. Okay, it's news time, and first up for today, Nvidia's RTX 5070 Ti just released. And if you haven't checked out my review on it just yet, I'll have that video linked up here. Either way, just like with the 5090 and 5080 before it, the card sold out almost instantly. You can see that it's nowhere to be found on Newegg, and even weeks after the 5090 released, it's still selling for absurd prices on eBay. Luckily, Nvidia's finally trying to do something to help ensure actual gamers are the ones getting these cards, because they brought back their verified priority access program. As you can see right here, it says, "We know it's challenging to purchase a GeForce RTX 50 series graphics card. Today, we're introducing verified priority access for the GeForce RTX 50 series. It will give a limited number of verified GeForce gamers and creators in the United States the opportunity to purchase one GeForce RTX 5090 or 5080 Founders Edition graphics card from the Nvidia Marketplace." Now, you might be wondering, well, what about the 5070 Ti that just came out? Well, don't forget, only third-party GPU makers are making that card, meaning there isn't a Founders Edition card for Nvidia to sell. Either way, if you want to know exactly how it works, it says, "Users who have had an Nvidia account created on or before January 30th, 2025 at 6 a.m. Pacific time can submit their interest for verified priority access through this form." It says, if selected, users will be notified at the email address of the Nvidia account they enrolled with. Invites will begin rolling out next week. So basically, this is like a lottery system, and it really sucks. I mean, we're literally to the point that we have to join a lottery just for a chance to then buy something. Basically, we have got to do something about scalpers. Now, don't get me wrong. In time, these prices should go back to normal. This is just supply and demand, and there isn't enough supply to reach the demand, so the prices go up. But it's one thing if actual gamers are getting GPUs, and even some of them decide to sell it because they realize it's worth more, versus what's actually happening where people are using bots to buy up 100 GPUs and then selling them for absurd prices. And what's wild is that this isn't just in the GPU industry. For example, my girlfriend really wanted this slushy maker called a Ninja Slushy for Christmas. And when I went to buy it, the thing was sold out everywhere. And it was selling for wild prices online. I mean, honestly, I was shocked. We're talking about a slushy maker. Luckily, my girlfriend is awesome and she was fine with me getting it to her later. Plus, I got her other things and I have since bought it for her. But at the same time, I almost paid way more for it because it was a gift and obviously I wanted to give it to her on time. But I say all of this to say, I really hope something is done about scalping. Plus, with AI getting better and better, it's probably harder and harder for retailers to stop them, those who want to, that is. Either way, at least Nvidia is trying to do something here. Though unfortunately, I will say that it is US only. Maybe they will change that, but for now, that is the case. Either way, hopefully some of you actually get a chance to purchase some of these. I will have this link down in the description below. But first, you may have noticed that I've gotten a bit chubby. Let's be honest, I sit around at a desk all day and I definitely don't get enough exercise. Luckily, I found the perfect way to do both, and it's all thanks to today's sponsor, FlexiSpot, and their new under-desk auto incline treadmill. Just like the name suggests, this bad boy has a 9-level adjustable incline so you can get as intense a workout as you want. So as I get in better shape, I can adjust the difficulty without having to run 20 miles an hour while trying to type out a sentence. Plus, it comes with a 2-year warranty and a 275-pound weight limit so even I can use it. Not to mention it comes with a built-in Bluetooth speakers, and it goes perfectly with my E7 Pro sit-stand desk. Oh, and I almost forgot that it comes with a wireless controller with magnetic holder and even shock absorption for your joints. Basically, it's got everything I could want to help me stay in shape while working in front of a computer. To get yours, visit my link in the description below. And definitely make sure to check out FlexiSpot's awesome E7 Pro desk. And next up for today, NVIDIA's RTX 5000 cards have yet another major issue. So much so that you may not even want to buy one. As you can see right here, this has to do with something called PhysX. Now, for those who may not be old enough, or those who just don't know what in the world I'm talking about, as they state here, it's a GPU accelerated technology that lets games realistically simulate destructive claws, shattering glass, moving liquid, smoke, fog, and other particle effects. Basically, it's in the name, PhysX. This is like a physics simulation technology, and I believe NVIDIA actually purchased it from another company. Don't remember for sure, but regardless, NVIDIA ended up with it, and it effectively became their proprietary technology. And this right here is one reason why proprietary technologies like this really suck a lot of times. Because NVIDIA's RTX 5000 cards do not support GPU accelerated PhysX. And the really bad part about this, because obviously NVIDIA can't support stuff for 100 years or, 30 years, 50 years. I mean, obviously, this is pretty old tech at this point, and it's at least somewhat understandable, but the problem is the fact that you can see it right here. They didn't just outright announce it or anything like that. Basically, it says, after buyers noticed PhysX games like Borderlands 2 were mysteriously taxing their CPU instead of their GPU and either chugging or failing to work, NVIDIA pointed out to a support page from January where it said, okay, the 50 series would not support 32-bit CUDA applications. But as they state, that didn't explicitly mention PhysX, but unfortunately, that is one of those CUDA applications. Imagine spending all this money for a brand new GPU, you go to play a really old game, and then it plays terrible. Actually, way worse than your older GPU. I mean, we are talking way worse. You can see using it CPU only, and this right here, I actually have it up right here. This is Batman Arkham Asylum. We are talking with the 4090 with PhysX High. He was getting 218 FPS, yet with that same GPU with using the CPU only, it just gets 39. Yeah, I know the 5090 is faster than the 4090, but it's not that much faster. With that said, this obviously does reveal that PhysX can run on a modern CPU, but it's not getting anywhere near the performance of a GPU that does support it. And I will say this, there aren't too many games. Luckily, there is someone who is starting to go over to see just how much performance is hurt when using a CPU for PhysX. And the really good news is that there aren't too many games that use it, but there are some pretty good ones. And of course, one of the great things about PCs is that you can play these really old games. But regardless, you can see when we go over some of these, I mean, we are talking Mirror's Edge, Batman Arkham Asylum, let's see, Mafia 2, Batman Arkham City, Borderlands 2, Metro Last Light. So, I mean, Batman Arkham Origins, of course, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, Borderlands, the pre-sequel. So, I mean, there are quite a bit of decent games that use PhysX. There aren't that many, and of course, like I said, they are pretty old, but still, I don't know, this sucks. And once again, to me, the worst part is the fact that NVIDIA just kind of seemed to make this a very minor thing rather than actually announcing it, letting people know so no one would be surprised. But unfortunately, yeah, that was not the case. And lastly for today, I have multiple news stories on AMD's upcoming RX 9000 GPUs. Starting things off, if you saw my recent video, you know that there was a leak that basically claimed AMD was set to actually release their RX 9070 GPUs, not just the XT, but also the 9070 non-XT on March 6th. Well, apparently video cards actually got some NDA material, and they now have the actual review embargo date. And as you can see right here, if this is right, that is March 5th, a day before the actual release. Now, obviously, that's not too much of a surprise, but what's wild here is the fact that that's the same day that NVIDIA is set to release their RTX 5070 non-TI card. So pretty wild here that they're dropping the reviews that exact day. Maybe AMD is hoping that people will hold off on buying the regular RTX 5070 so they could potentially buy the 9000 card. Not only that, but we also now learned information regarding clocks. First up, we have the 9070 OC. This is an XFX Swift GPU, and as you can see, comes with a base clock of 1440 megahertz, a game clock of 2210, then a boost clock of up to 2700 megahertz. And this doesn't sound all that great, but don't forget this is the non-XT variant. I'm going to get to the XT variant in just a second, but when we compare that to the 7900 XT, that is, of course, on the boost frequency, that's 300 megahertz higher. So we're going from 400 or 2400 to 2700. So 300 megahertz higher. Then when we look at the 7900 XTX, that is only 200 megahertz higher. Then the moving back to the 7900 XTX, the game frequency here is actually a little bit higher than the game frequency on the 9070 non-XT. Then when we look at the game frequency here on the 7900 XT, it is the 9070 is 210 megahertz higher. So it's a little bit higher than the 7900 XT, and just the boost is slightly higher than the 7900 XTX. But then we actually have boost clock for the 9070 XT, and you can see with the XFX, this is the higher end one. We are looking at a whopping 3100 megahertz, meaning it finally goes past 3000 megahertz. So that would of course be 700 megahertz higher than the 7900 XT, and then 600 megahertz higher than the 7900 XTX. So the 9070 non-XT, at least as far as, you know, the clocks are concerned, don't forget that this is an entirely new architecture, RDNA 4. It could be so different and so much better in that sense that it could have less cores and less clocks and still be faster. So we can't really gather too much information from this, but at least that 9070 XT is definitely looking pretty impressive. And speaking of that GPU looking pretty impressive, we now have some new performance. Now, recently, there was actually a couple leaked benchmarks of the 9070 and 9070 XT, and it actually showed that these GPUs were around a 7800 XT, maybe 7900 GRE level of performance, which, if true, would definitely not be impressive. But luckily, it seems like that may in fact not be true, and it's quite a bit better, because you can see right here from video cards, it says they left a bad impression. They're referring to this other very recent performance leak. They left a bad impression that performance may not be as good as expected, but according to video cards, it says we can confirm that these benchmarks do not show RDNA 4's full performance. And of course, video cards is an incredibly accurate leaker. If they're saying that their own sources are saying this, you can more than likely take it to the bank. Either way, it says, and the figures presented by this leaker right here is more in line of what we've been hearing. And what this is actually a Furmark benchmark. And while I know it says it's a 7800 XT based on the PCI ID, it's actually a 9070 card. And it scored 7,979 points, which puts it almost at the 7900 XTX level. Faster than the 7900 XT, faster than the 7900 GRE, and over 50% faster than the 7800 XT. So this is way more like it. I believe we are talking about the 9070 XT. I wouldn't get my hopes up with this being the regular 9070, but even at the 9070 XT, that's definitely pretty impressive, depending on one thing, and that is, of course, price. So while that does it for today, are you getting excited for AMD's 9000 cards, or are you just disappointed that NVIDIA's new GPUs don't support PhysX? Let me know down in the comments below. And don't forget to check out FlexiSpot's awesome desk and treadmill down in the description below. And as always, have a great day.